All right, let's jump right into this explainer and connect the dots on a literal trillion-dollar mystery that's been hiding in plain sight. We are talking about the true identity of the person taking over Elon Musk's massive corporate empire. For years, the financial world has been, practically holding its breath, waiting to see how the leadership of the world's most complex innovation engine is going to evolve. But if you look closely at the data and the structural moves happening right now, this transition isn't just something that might happen down the road, it is already happening right in front of us.
So who exactly is his hand-picked successor? Wall Street has been obsessing over who could possibly replace Musk at the helm. Analysts debate it endlessly. Shareholders have literally filed lawsuits over it, and the media just spins theory after theory. But here's the thing. If you know how to read the signals buried in recent corporate filings and executive shifts, the answer is already locked in. The market just hasn't caught up to the reality yet.
It all really starts with this massive paradox. Back in 2021, Elon publicly complained about the CEO job, flat out saying he didn't want to be CEO of anything. There were even rumors he was privately considering stepping back. But then, flash forward to the Qatari Economic Forum, and he completely dug his heels in, insisting he'll only step down if he dies. So what does this all mean? When a leader complains about the daily grind, tells friends he wants out, but publicly denies going anywhere, it tells us he desperately wants out of the title, but he absolutely refuses to abandon the mission until he finds the perfect operational counterpart.
The crucial point here is that he wants out of the role, not the company. But he hasn't been able to just walk away because the bench of potential successors has basically emptied out over the last few years. We've seen some serious heavy hitters leave. Guys like Zach Kirkhorn, the CFO everyone thought was next in line, Drew Baglino, a wildly respected 18-year veteran of powertrain engineering, and J.B. Straubel, a co-founder and absolute technical pillar. They didn't necessarily leave on bad terms, but their exits meant the internal talent pool shrank at the exact moment it needed to be at its strongest.
Part 1. Consolidating the Empire, the February Mechanism.
Okay, so on February 2nd, the entire landscape shifted completely. SpaceX, which was valued at $1 trillion, and xAI, sitting at about $250 billion, officially merged. This wasn't just a simple partnership. It instantly created this massive $1.25 trillion vertically integrated behemoth combining rockets, space-based internet, and unbelievable AI compute power.
Now look at these insane corporate signals pointing toward Tesla being the final domino to fall into this consolidated megacorp. On January 21st, these super mysterious K2 merger entities get filed in Nevada. A week later, Bloomberg reports SpaceX is actively considering a merger with Tesla. Then in March, Tesla takes a $2 billion xAI investment and converts it directly into a SpaceX stake. With top-tier banks like Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley lining up to help, the financial architecture for a unified Musk empire is literally being laid down brick by brick.
Elon himself painted a very specific picture of this newly combined entity, calling it the most ambitious vertically integrated innovation engine on and off Earth. He built an unimaginably complex organism with this merger. But more importantly, he placed his most personal company, the one he calls his baby, the one building the actual path to Mars, squarely into the hands of one specific operator.
Which brings us to part 2, the secret successor hiding in plain sight. Enter Gwynne Shotwell. We are not talking about some speculative external hire here. She has been there all along. She's arguably one of America's greatest business leaders, yet she somehow flies totally under the radar for mainstream investors. Following this recent mega merger, she is officially the person in charge of integrating xAI right into SpaceX. Time magazine even put her on the cover recently, saying she aims to put AI on the moon. She is the true operator behind the empire.
To really get why she's the absolute ultimate choice to eventually run a combined entity that includes Tesla, we have to look at her phenomenal 24-year run alongside Elon. She joined SpaceX way back in 2002. She was literally around employee number 7. She ran business development, translating all those wild engineering goals into actual paying contracts. By 2008, she was promoted to president and CEO, and now her role has expanded to handle the incredibly complex xAI integration.
17.5 years. That is how long she's been president and COO. To put that staggering number into perspective for a second, when Tim Cook took over Apple, he had only been COO for 6 years. Shotwell has been operating at this elite, high-stakes level for almost 3 times as long. She is the ultimate de facto deputy who intimately understands exactly how Elon operates, what he actually values, and most importantly, how to execute his vision without ever slowing him down.
Just look at her track record over those 17.5 years. It's wild. Under her steady hand, she personally negotiated those early NASA resupply missions that literally kept the company from going bankrupt. She oversaw the Falcon 9, turning it into the most reliable launch vehicle in human history. She executed the Crew Dragon program, she deployed Starlink globally, gracefully handling absolute geopolitical landmines like the rollout in Ukraine, and she did all of this, consistently succeeding, while Elon was being pulled in 14 different directions, navigating the company right through his constant public controversies and legal battles. I mean, that alone is a massive achievement.
Part 3. Unleashing the Chief Engineer.
So, what exactly does this mean for Elon? We kind of have to completely reframe the narrative here. He isn't just quitting Tesla as CEO. No way. The merger of these companies creates a role so massive that he is simply graduating. He's stepping out of the traditional CEO seat, a role packed with tedious earnings calls and administrative stuff he has always hated, and he's stepping up to become the chief engineer and executive chairman of a unified Musk industry.
This graduation hands the day-to-day execution of what is essentially a tech version of Berkshire Hathaway on steroids right over to Shotwell. Just look at the insane scale of what she'll be managing so he doesn't have to. Terafab's AI chip joint venture, Falcon 9 and Starship launches, Starlink V3's orbital data centers, scaling the completely pedaless cybercab out of Texas, ramping up Optimus robot production in Fremont, and managing xAI's massive compute models. With Gwynne handling the logistics of the whole shebang, Elon gets to focus 100% of his time on solving the hardest, first-principles engineering problems of the AI age.
So as we wrap up this explainer, there's one massive, provocative question we really have to ask ourselves. Just how fast is the future going to arrive now that Elon's engineering genius is fully unchained? For years, his time has been totally fractured. But backed by Gwynne Shotwell, literally the world's most capable operational leader who has spent 2 decades turning his craziest ideas into reliable reality, the ultimate bottleneck is finally removed. Seriously, what happens to the pace of innovation when the architect of this empire finally gets to spend all his time just building? Keep your eyes on the filings, guys, because the future is arriving way faster than you think.